we go. Oops. I realized like the composting really worked on my flowers. I didn't know why they were exploding, but I think compost actually works. Who knew? Anyway, there we go. Hello, YouTubers. Hey, guys. Let me get TikTok's actually ready to roll. TikTok go live. We are good today. 1 sec here. All right, TikTok's live, mirror image, and boom. All right, we're good. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. All right. Good. I'm going to try to keep my voice lower today if I can. I'm going to try to finish at 7 o'clock because that way I don't sort of stress this out too much because my voice has been scratchy. I need to give it a little bit of a rest and then learn to not project as much when I'm talking to you guys. Happy Friday, Maddie. Happy Bjorn. Hey, Bjorn from Sweden. Thank you, Jorge and Bryce, for the gifts. Oh, how are we doing, you all? Hope everybody's doing well today. La. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Kitty. Cool. Lots of TikTokers today. Croatia. Oh, hey, Mega in Croatia. How are you? Lovely country from everything I've heard. Thank you, Dave. Very popular now. Actually, too popular now, I think, for the tourists. But yeah, Croatia. People love Croatia. Hey, Tarad. Good to see you. Thank you for the gift. So yeah, welcome, folks. Thank you, Heidi. Hey, Lisa. Oh, it's Friday. Oop, thank you for the cake. Bjorn. Lisa, Max. Hey, Jeff. I feel like Romper Room whenever I'm here. It's like I see Max, I see Jeff, I see Lisa. I'm not in Croatia, but a guy over on YouTube is. Hey, Dave, I am in Washington, D.C. Hey, Carmelina. Hey, Flower Lady. I'm doing well on my water. Today, I think I've done 7 cups of water, which I'm shocked I pulled off so far because it was not easy. I don't know how you people drink water. I had my physical and I suspect I'm a little dehydrated. So I was doing the research on the water thing, 8 cups of water, at least 8 cups of water. And I was like, oh my God. I was seeing ChatGPT was saying 10 cups of water for my age and my body size. And I was like, are you insane? 10 cups of water. So we're trying the 8 cups. Hey, Heather. Hey, Aileen. Hey, little soul. Anyway, very hard to do the water. I feel like I'm doing my, thank you, Joshua. It feels like you're preparing for your colonoscopy. It's like no more water. No, it's horrible though. I feel like totally, it's too much. Celtic salt. I know fruits and veggies are a better idea. I just can't handle this. We'll see, but this is too much. I don't even want to think of water right now. I've got my cup here that I have for the show, but is too much. It is possible to drink too much water, but from what I was reading, you've got to drink a ridiculous amount of water to get sick from drinking water. It's too much. We do have good tap water here. Okay, this is America. It's not like Sweden with your mountains, right? Maybe mountain water is good in America. Thank you, Adventures. Thank you, Rod. Thank you, Visionary. Generally speaking, Fallen as well. Generally speaking, yeah, the water is safe. There's that town in Michigan, whatever, that's been a disaster. But the water is safe in America everywhere. There's no problems drinking it. Yeah, it's safe everywhere. Anyway, oh my God. Yeah, it's just too much drinking this water. Ugh. I drink tap water, yeah. Flint, Michigan. There you go. That was it. Yep. Anyway, welcome, guys. So I am John Aravosis. Welcome to my show. We've got everything set up good today. Today is Friday, May 23rd. We're going to talk about the latest news from here in America. We're also going to talk about the latest from the war in Ukraine because that's kind of our regular topic. Beyond that, not sure what to tell you. Not too much new. Tomorrow we've got my show I do for the paid monthly subscribers. So join us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, US. That will be up. Thank you. Who's that? Tarad, Hannah, Dario. Who did the? That was Hannah, I think, with the cool gift. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Melanie. But yeah, so tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, US, I will be doing the show I do for the paid monthly subscribers. So join us, Yasudario, for the paid monthly subscribers. That'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, that's cool. Thank you, Adventures. Oh, that's the Powerful Mind thing. That's very funny. Thank you for that. Thank you, Terry, for the confetti. So yeah, so tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., join us. I'm probably going to do a shorter show tomorrow, just because, like I said, the voice thing, I'm a little worried about it. It's a little much. I think I forgot about Memorial Day. Yeah, Maddie asked about Memorial Day. So Monday is a holiday here in America. At this point, I think I'll do it. Worst comes to worst, I'll try to let you know or whatever. But YouTube and Discord are the most obvious because I can cancel those. And if you see the show canceled, then it's not happening. World Pride isn't this early. Pride Parade? It can't be happening this early, is it? No, it's got to be in a couple weeks here, I would think. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, World. But let's see. We'll see about Monday. I don't know. Actually, Monday's not a terrible idea to take off because of my voice thing. Maybe that's a good idea. Sunday and Monday. So let's say probably not having a show on Monday, just so I can have 2 days in a row that I'm not talking. So, well, you know what I mean? Not talking too much. Thank you, Martin. Oh, man. Yeah, my body is saying I don't need more water. Sorry. Iboli was giving me advice on the water thing and saying, if your body says you don't need more water, my body is going, I'm sick of drinking this stuff. It's just, ugh. But clearly I did not drink a lot of water. Thank you, Martin. I was saying that I had my physical this week, and I suspect from my physical that I am a little bit dehydrated. But then when I Googled how much water you're supposed to drink, I must be dehydrated because there's no way in hell I drink 8 cups of water a day. And they were saying 8 to 10 cups of water drunk. They weren't taking into account the food you have as well. The stuff I was reading was saying the amount you drink should be 8 to 10 cups. And I was like, 10 cups of water? Like, oh, even the 8 cups is kind of gross at this point. But yeah, tea's not a terrible idea. Maybe I will start brewing tea again. In any case, it's fine. It's fine. But so let's get rolling anyway. So welcome, guys. I'm John Aravosis. We do the news. We're talking about water at the moment. Thank you, Super. It is a lot. Google it. 8 to 10 cups of water a day. I kid you not. Tea is a whole other problem. All right. I don't want to spend too much time doing this because we're going to bore people. Tea is another issue because tea, at least for me, makes me pee. Not to be all Dr. Seuss here with the rhymes, but that's its own problem. My first name is John. Yes, Xander. So that's its own problem with tea. Okay, let's stop talking about this. So welcome, guys. Let's do the news. So there's a lot of big Trump stories today. Fewer Ukraine stories, a lot of Trump stories. One big Trump story, Harvard University. We talked about yesterday. Trump is trying to destroy Harvard. He's actually trying to destroy, really the top universities in America. He thinks they're too liberal, and they might be. But here's the thing. They're private corporations. They're private businesses. They're allowed to be as liberal or conservative as they want. And just in the same way that you and I are allowed to be as liberal or conservative as we want, Trump doesn't think so. Trump thinks he's going to use the power of government to basically force companies to be politically correct, MAGA politically correct. He's going to try to force universities to be MAGA politically correct. He's literally trying to destroy Harvard. He is, the latest move he tried last night, the court told him no, is they ordered Harvard to no longer accept foreign students. Every foreign student at Harvard was just kicked out by Donald Trump. Every foreign student who was coming to Harvard was told, don't come. A judge intervened this morning and said, thank you, Super Hornet. Thank you, Laddie. Thank you, Cricket. A judge intervened this morning and said, I don't think so. Pending the court case, the judge did an injunction stopping the Trump administration from kicking the foreigners out. That did not stop the Trump administration from telling its consulates around the world not to issue visas to any student going to Harvard. That's illegal. Violation of the court order. This is really bad, guys. He's first of all, this is, like I said, it's communist. I mean, Republicans the Republican Party, especially under Donald Trump, but in general, there's always been an element in the Republican Party here where they accuse you of the things they do. So Republicans like to accuse Democrats of being communist. And what they mean is using government to tyrannize the population, using government to create tyranny, using government to force businesses and private entities and private individuals to do what government wants. And the irony is, it's not Democrats doing that. It's Republicans, especially today. The kind of tyranny that's happening from the Trump administration. And again, Harvard is one perfect example. They're trying to destroy the best university in America because they think the university is too liberal, right? And then they've made up another example. They make up BS about claiming that social media, and by the way, that person's getting banned on Ash right now, claiming that social media is banning conservatives, when actually, who's done the most banning in America? Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Elon Musk running one of the biggest social media companies in America, Twitter. He's banned everybody. He banned journalists. Of course, he's banning Africans now too. You know, according to Bill Gates, Elon Musk literally killed children in Africa. He gave them AIDS, according to Bill Gates. I mean, horrific what Elon Musk's been doing. So, you know, but what do conservatives do? They say, oh, liberals use social media to hurt people, when it was actually Republicans who did it. And now we've got the same thing with Harvard. They're using the strong arm of government to destroy a university because it's not politically correct in terms of MAGA politically correct. And they're literally using the government to destroy it in the way you would see in communist China, in the way you would see in the Soviet Union, in the way you would see in Russia today. It is decidedly un-American and anti-American. Well, the judge at least stepped in and said, pending the court case, he is not going to let Trump kick foreign students out of Harvard. But to some degree, a lot of this is Trump's already achieving his goal. If you're a foreign student, you're now wondering if you're going to Harvard next year, right? You're now waiting for this court case that's going to take months. And by the way, it's going to take several weeks for the court case, probably, for Harvard right now. Then it gets appealed to the appellate court, could take several weeks to a couple months. Then it goes to the Supreme Court, could take several weeks to several months. And all of a sudden, this case, if it gets fast-tracked, maybe 3 to 6 months. But this case could take a year. And if it takes a year, what are you going to do? Right? You're not going to go to Harvard. But the bigger problem, as we talked about yesterday, is Donald Trump is telling foreigners not to come to America, is what he's actually doing, right? He's telling them not to come as tourists because you'll be violated at the border, right? Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Succeed, right? You'll have your phone gone through. You'll have your chat messages go through. Thank you for the. I know we're doing a very serious topic today. Thank you, Succeed. He's telling people not to come here to do medical research. One of the top researchers on cancer in America was arrested and thrown in prison for 2 months. So he's telling people not to come here for business. And on the business side, it's everything Trump is doing with tariffs, everything he's doing with interest rates, everything he's doing with the stock market, right? The disaster he's caught with inflation. And now with public spending, which is destroying the stock market, it's destroying the bond market. By the way, foreigners invest in bonds to pay for America's debt. Foreigners don't want to buy our bonds anymore because of what Donald Trump is doing. He is destroying our country on so many different levels right now. It is so dangerous what's happening. So the Harvard thing. Speaking of which, Trump today sent the stock market into another tailspin because the trade wars are back on. Remember, like a couple weeks ago, Trump said, oh, we're going to hold off on the trade wars. Then he changed his mind. Remember? By the way, this is one of the things that's so dangerous with Donald Trump, and I've talked about this, is he's a flip-flopper. He doesn't mean what he says. You can't believe his word. Trump, and if you're in business, let alone policy or government, it's the most dangerous thing. I mean, wars get started by having leaders whose word you can't believe. Because if you can't believe their word, if you can't trust them, if you can't tell what they're going to do next, you may just have to assume the worst, right? So what's happening with Trump now is Trump claimed he was going to, delay the trade wars for 90 days. We were going to lower the tariffs on Europe, lower the tariffs on everybody down to like 10%. 2 weeks later, he changed his mind. Now we're going to have 50% tariffs on the Europeans. 50%. 50% is going to nearly shut down trade with Europe because it's going to increase the price of goods coming from Europe by 50%. That is going to, but again, we're talking a lot of the luxury foods people like. You like your wine, some of your beer, right? A lot of the beers come from Europe. There's a lot of airplane parts and aviation parts that come from Europe. A lot of stuff comes from Europe. It's all going to be raised in price 50%. And by the way, what does a 50% price increase do? It causes inflation. It also shuts down trade. He's doing the same thing to iPhones now. But again, lots of pharmaceuticals. Oh, yeah. Ozempic. Guess what? Your Ozempic you like to use Some people use it for, most people use it for diabetes, but a lot of people are using it to basically lose weight. That Ozempic comes from Denmark. Trump just raised the price 50% on that stuff with his tariffs. They kick in June 1st. In a week, they kick in. I mean, but again, you're a business leader. You're the head of a company. You're trying to figure out whether to invest in America, whether to buy a product, right? Whether to import a product here in the US. And Donald Trump said, don't worry, you've got 90 days. We're going to have 10% tariffs, but we're not going to have big tariffs for 90 days. After 14 days, he changed his mind and said, oh yeah, we are going to have huge tariffs. Again, you can't trust him. You can't trust his word. He said he was going to put sanctions on Russia. And then the next day he said no. I mean, you literally, and this is the problem with China. It's a problem with Russia, our foreign enemies. Our enemies are going to look and say, well, he threatened Russia. He said, Russia, if you don't reach a 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine, I am going to put sanctions on you. Putin said, I'm not going to do it. Trump said, okay, I won't do it. That's okay. That's fine. Well, if you're China and Donald Trump says, don't you dare invade Taiwan or else, China's going to go, well, I mean, we know you make threats and you're chicken, right? Like the threats you made against Putin and you removed them and then you didn't follow through. It's incredibly dangerous to have a world leader like Trump who is basically afraid. Maybe it's afraid. It's kind of a combination. I don't know if it's afraid or if there's just something lacking here, right? There is something. Actually, I do think a large part of the problem with Trump is he doesn't believe there isn't a lot going on up there, right? He doesn't have positions on trade. He doesn't have positions on foreign policy. He has positions on enriching Donald Trump. He has positions on bribery. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Trump got bribed again last night. A huge bribes last night he accepted. He's got positions on that, but Donald Trump, he doesn't believe anything about anything, right? He's not smart enough to believe to have views on foreign policy. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. But he also doesn't care. Trump's views on foreign policy are you going to pay my sons some money, right? Are you going to kick money into my family business? Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, right? That's Donald Trump's position on foreign policy. So it's not surprising on something like trade, he's going to change his mind because he doesn't have a mind on trade. He doesn't believe in anything. So the other thing, so first he puts a 50% tariff on Europe starting in a week, which again, the stock market then crashed again, big surprise. He now is saying he's going to increase the price of an iPhone by several $1,000s. How y'all feel about that? Trump is demanding, and this is, by the way, crazy again, because the other thing with Trump is he doesn't know anything about business, which is what's fascinating. Because again, Donald Trump is, I think he's a con artist, but he's also a salesman, which goes hand in hand with being a con artist. Thank you, Tiger, for the gift. And he doesn't know about business. He plays a businessman on TV, right? But he doesn't know anything about business. Trump knows how to sell. Trump knows how to sell garbage, right? Just like the guys in the old days who would sell those elixirs that would cure you of all the diseases, right? And they were fake, but they were good salesmen. Thank you, Fallonum. They were, he puts it, even the real estate stuff. But even the real estate, all he did with real estate was put his name on stuff. I mean, right? Somebody else built it. Somebody else put the money. Snake oil salesman. That's what it is. Thank you, Heather and Shell and Dario. Even with the real estate, he put his name on it, right? Well, the Apple now, Trump is demanding that Apple move all of its business to America, that it make iPhones in America instead of China and India. All the experts say that's going to raise the price of the iPhone. A $1,000 iPhone is going to go up anywhere between $1,500 to $3,500 for the price of an iPhone minimum if we move it here to America. Yeah, Tim Apple, exactly. If we move it here to America. Because we don't have the engineers here. We don't have, Apple spent billions of dollars training people over in Asia. I was actually reading an article today. It was either the Washington Post or the New York Times, and it was talking about, honestly, I'm like uncomfortable even telling you about the article. Asian women having small hands being able to do the work that we can't get America. It was the craziest article for doing like very fine tech stuff with small screwdriver. I kid you not. This was the Wall Street Journal or the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, or New York Times today. But there's lots of reasons. Americans charge a hell of a lot more to work here than to work abroad. The other thing, which I thought was fascinating, was the dexterity. But this was something I didn't even know. They're talking about the iPhone not existing in 20 years, that with AI, phones are going to somehow change entirely with AI. And these are like the experts in the article saying Apple isn't really planning on the iPhone being an iPhone in 20 years. So the idea of spending billions and billions and billions of dollars, and this is going to take years, by the way, to build the plants, the factories they would need to build in America. It'll take years. They're going to spend years and billions of dollars to make a factory that's going to be obsolete in the next 20 years. Which I didn't even think of that. I thought that was absolutely fascinating. So anyway, yeah. So Trump is now threatening to. So what he said was, if Apple doesn't move all of their iPhone business here to America, which itself will cause the iPhone to go up in price anywhere to $1,500 to $3,500 for $1,000 iPhone. So your $1,000 iPhone could cost $3,000 or $4,000, and your iPad as well, by the way, and your watch, your Apple Watch as well, and your Macintosh, your computer, any Apple products are going to possibly double, triple, quadruple in price. And if Apple doesn't do it, he's going to put a 25% tariff on it. So your iPhone is going to go up at least $250. Trump is promising soon. Anybody out there vote for inflation? I thought the vote was against inflation. At every step of the way, Trump has been threatening to increase prices and he's actually increased prices on Americans. He hasn't just threatened to increase prices on us. The stock market's freaking out. Foreign investors are freaking out. People no longer want to work in America. I was watching Senator from New Hampshire today saying that half of the contracts they do with Canada, because Canada is their huge trade partner, because New Hampshire is it's a northeastern American state right on the border with Canada, that half of their Canadian business is gone. Half of the Canadian business this one American state does, and it's the state like right next door to Canada, so they do a ton of business. Half of it's gone. Because the Canadians don't want to do business with us after Trump, right? Best businessman in the world. So another thing, and I'm sorry, there's a really lot of bad Trump news today. So Trump is now using the government to go after Media Matters. They're a liberal group, progressive group. They're a media watchdog. They're officially nonpartisan, but I think they lean left. I would say they lean left. But so what, right? There's, we have right-wing groups, we have left-wing groups. Trump is using the Federal Trade Commission to try to destroy Media Matters now. Again, he's using the strong arm of the government to try to destroy companies who he disagrees with. That is, it is illegal. It is, again, communist. It's what the Soviets would do. It's what the Chinese would do. It's what the current Russian, wannabe dictatorship of Putin would do. It is not American. It is anti-American. What I thought was very interesting with this was and we don't need to get into the details of what's going on with Media Matters. They don't like them. Basically, actually, what I should say is, guess why Trump is trying to take apart this American organization, Media Matters? Because Elon Musk doesn't like them. Elon Musk doesn't like them. Elon's a crybaby. Elon got upset that Media Matters exposed the fact that on Twitter, there was a neo-Nazi problem, right? We're not allowed to say the word. Those people from World War II Germany, you know who I mean, the bad people from the 1940s. A lot of them, the neo versions of them, like to be on Twitter. And even worse, Elon brought them back. Elon brought back white supremacists. He brought back racists. He brought back homophobes. And he brought back the Nazis. He literally brought them back to Twitter. Well, Media Matters went and found a bunch of basically big corporations and kept checking the corporation's Twitter feed until one of the Nazis popped up. And they took a screenshot and showed it to the corporations and said, how do you feel about, you big American company having your Twitter feed next to an NZ, right? A German of World War II origin. You know who I mean, right? The N, we're calling them NZs, right? How do you feel about that? Well, a lot of companies pulled their advertising. So Elon sued. Elon lost the lawsuit. But this is why Trump is going after them now. He's going after Media Matters because they held Elon Musk accountable for bringing NZs back on Twitter. Okay, that's why Elon went after them, crybaby that he is. Well, Trump is now going after Media Matters. One thing that I thought was very interesting, the Federal Trade Commission, it has 5 seats of people running, 5 chairmen or whatever running the Federal Trade Commission. 3 are of one political party, 2 are of the other. You're appointed for 7 years. Okay, I want to read you what Donald Trump did. You're appointed for 7 years. The next president does not remove them. You always have 3 and 2. If you're the president and a seat opens up, obviously you're going to want to have your, in other words, there's 3 and 2, either 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So if you're president, right, and a seat opens up and your party is in the minority, then you replace that seat with one of your guys. So now you're 3. So now it's 3 Democrats or 3 Republicans, right? But if there's already, for example, right now with Donald Trump, if there's already 3 Republicans and a seat opens up, then you add a Democrat back in. That's how you do it. Listen to what Trump did. Okay. This was from I think from the New York Times today or Wall Street. Again, I read the Wall Street Journal, the Times, and the Washington Post. So I never know which I'm getting these articles. Sometimes I forget where I'm getting the article from. Listen to this. Trump in March dismissed the 2 remaining Democrats on the Federal Trade Commission. Again, there were 2 Democrats and 3 Republicans, which critics said called the commission's independence into question. Okay, it's not just critics. It is designed to be made up of 5 commissioners who serve 7-year terms with no more than 3 from one political party allowed. So 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats, or vice versa. However, it now only has 3 commissioners instead of 5, all Republicans. 2 appointed last year, 2 Republicans appointed last year by President Biden, right? 2 seats opened up. And Republicans have to have 2 seats. That's the way it works. So Biden appointed 2 Republicans because this is America. We follow the law, right? You've got to have 2 Republicans. The seat opened up. Biden appointed them. There are 3 commissioners right now, 2 appointed by Biden and 1 appointed by Trump this year. Well, what happened was Trump fired the other 2 Democrats on the commission. He fired them. You don't fire them. The president does not fire people from the Federal Trade Commission. He got rid of the Democrats entirely. So now, again, Joe Biden picked 2 Republicans to run the Federal Trade Commission because that's what the law said to do. Donald Trump fired the Democrats that were there. This is not America. This is not democracy. This is what dictators do. This is what a fascist government would do. I mean, again, we'll go back to communist China, Soviet Russia, modern day Russia, even modern day Hungary, I would say. It's really, really incredibly scary what he's doing. Last night, Trump got bribed again. Trump held a $1 million bribery party last night. He took a military helicopter to go from the White House to a bribery dinner where he basically had people bribe him to go to the dinner. And again, thank you, killers. He took a military helicopter, right? The White House, I love this. The White House said it was okay for people to bribe Trump at this dinner. They literally gave money to Trump directly at the dinner. I'll explain how in a second. It's okay because he took the bribe as a private citizen. Okay. He took the bribe as a private citizen, the president of the United States. So it was okay to take the bribe at 6:00 at night because that won't affect what he does at 3:00 in the afternoon. Okay. What he did was, and we talked about this before, but one of the dinners was finally last night. He held a dinner at his golf course. He always holds it at his golf course because if he holds the dinner at the golf course, then his golf course gets paid. He gets more money. Thank you, Christina, for the fairy wings. He held a dinner at his golf course for the people who bought the most of his meme coin cryptocurrency. Trump gets elected president. Shortly before his inauguration, he decides to create a crypto coin. Basically, I want to go to the details, but cryptocurrency, you've all heard about it. Anybody can create their own coin. Typically, if you or I create a coin, nobody wants to buy it, right? If I had one and you bought it, I would get a large percentage of the money would go to me. Trump created his own coin shortly before the inauguration, after he was president, after he was already elected president. Everybody buying the coin, a large percentage of the coin goes to Donald Trump. Actually, you guys had said yesterday how much. I want to confirm how much of it goes there. Correct. Meme coins have no value. It's the idea of a meme coin is imagine it being a virtual token. So imagine it being like a medallion, but instead of it being, oh, I'm selling a Trump medallion, you're selling a virtual one, right? It's not real. Hold on. What percentage of the money does Trump get when a person buys one of his meme coins? Oh, I said memes. Hopefully it understood meme coins. Let's see if ChatGPT understood my question. Yep. When someone purchases a Trump meme coin, a portion of the transaction fees benefit entities affiliated with Donald Trump. Since the coin's launch in January 2025, Trump-affiliated businesses have received approximately $312 million from crypto sales and $43 million in total fees. That would be $350 million. The exact percentage of each transaction that goes to Trump isn't publicly disclosed, but it's substantial earnings. Possibly several $100 million he's already pocketed. It gets worse. Trump last night held the dinner, and the way you got into the dinner wasn't just buying his meme coin. Oops, I'm going to turn my camera a little bit there, get a little more of the flowers. You got into the dinner last night with Trump, not just by buying the meme coin. Guess how you got into the dinner? You had to buy a lot of the meme coin. Only the people who bought the most I don't know whether it was 20 or 100 people who bought the most meme coins. Let's say the number was 100. I don't remember how many people went to the dinner. Let's just say it was 100. It might have been 20 or 50. Trump said, the top 100 people who buy the meme coin get to go to dinner with me. And 220. Oh my God, it was that many? Holy shit. Okay, top 220. Okay, top 220 people. So you and I buy lots of Trump's coins to try to get to go to the dinner. Well, let's say you're 220 on the list and somebody else buys more coins. Now I'm 221 on the list. I don't get to go to the dinner. So I buy more coins. Oops. Is it too, let me put my, hold on. I'm going to put the curtain up because I'm getting a little sunlight coming in and I don't want it to blind you guys. All right. One more. Hang on a second. I can try this. Let me try my jacket over here. I mean, the sun is coming and going. There we go. The sun is kind of coming and going, but I didn't want it to blind TikTok there. That's better. So basically, the top 220 people who buy Trump's coins get to go to dinner with him. And if somebody else gets to go and you don't, then you buy more coins. And if somebody else gets knocked down, then you buy more coins. He created a competition of people to bribe him. And the New York Times interviewed them. And a number of people said, oh yeah, I bought the coin so I could lobby him. Right. That's why it happened. Like an auction. Actually, that's a perfect explanation. Tarad said like an auction. Thank you, JPT. That's a perfect explanation. It's like an auction where basically somebody, except in this auction, it's the top 220 bidders for an item that get to go. So if you're the 221st bidder, you don't get to go. You got to bid more money. It is corrupt as hell. No one has ever seen anybody do anything like this in the history of the United States. We've never seen a president this corrupt. It's absolutely, it boggles my mind. I mean, I just don't know, guys. The problem is that, again, when you let this kind of corruption become rampant, and Trump was this corrupt in his first term. I mean, I don't even know if he was this corrupt. He was very corrupt in his first term. I'm trying, what else do they have here, by the way? Hold on, let me pull this up. The New York Times gave some examples. The start of Trump's second term has been punctuated with more than a dozen of these lucrative transactions for his family and partners. Real estate deals from Qatar to Serbia that involve foreign governments. A new bank-like crypto venture that has pulled in $2 billion, $2 billion with a B, from the government of the United Arab Emirates. A golf tournament at his Miami club, a golf tournament at Trump's Miami club sponsored by a Saudi-funded venture. Trump is estimated to have added billions of dollars to his personal fortune on paper since the start of his presidency 4 months ago. Trump, let me just read it again. They've estimated that Trump has added billions of dollars with a B to his portfolio in the last 4 months as president. I mean, this is Putin level corruption. It's absolutely Putin level corruption. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, guys. It's very bad. All right, let's move on to Ukraine. It's really, I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, and the thing is the corruption that they're willing to accept, and they'll make excuses for it. I don't know any. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it boggles my mind. Oh, that's true. The lawsuits, the corruption of the lawsuits, people are paying Trump off that way too. Trump filed a bunch of fake lawsuits against all these like media companies like ABC. ABC settled the lawsuit to give Trump money and make him happy. Some ABC's was like $15 million, something like that. Because if he sues you, you've now got a vehicle to pay him off, because Trump has sued you, even though the lawsuit is spurious. It's a bullshit lawsuit. It's a lawsuit. You can make it go away by settling the lawsuit. And if you want to make Donald Trump happy, you settle the lawsuit and give him millions of dollars as a settlement. And Trump goes, okay, I guess maybe I'll be okay with your merger that's going on, right? We have never seen this level of corruption in any presidency, Democrat or Republican, to date. We have never seen a Republican this corrupt. We have never seen a Democrat this corrupt. I mean, again, Republican presidents don't. No, we have not. George Bush never did this. Ronald Reagan never did this. Biden was the most innocent president we've ever had. Republicans admitted that one. Remember, Republicans were gonna impeach Biden on his corruption, and literally their top witness got arrested because he was lying. He got arrested for creating the whole thing. You will recall, by the way, Republicans never impeached Biden. They never even impeached him. They controlled Congress and they never impeached him. Why was that? Yeah, exactly. They called it the Biden crime family. Well, if it was the Biden crime family, why did you never investigate him? Why did you never arrest him? Why did you never impeach him? The Republicans had to admit that they had no evidence. There was no evidence of any crimes committed by Joe. His son, kind of a loser, but even on his son, right? They got his son on like he bought a gun when he was an addict or something. It was like a stupid, whatever. And I think he lied on his taxes too, which is stupid of him, obviously. But yeah, we have never had a president this corrupt, Democrat or Republican. Amazing. All right, let's talk about Ukraine. I am going to cut the show off around 7:00 because, as I said, my voice is being funny. So I want to sort of, I'm only going to do an hour tonight just to be safe, not an hour and a half, because I can even feel it's still being rough right now. I'm going to have to give it several days rest, I think. It is day 1184 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine exchanged 270 prisoners and 120 civilians today. Trump claimed, and again, the naivete, Trump said, this could be the beginning of something big. No one thinks that. Literally, no one thinks that. I mean, no one thinks that. No one thinks like, okay, they had a big prisoner exchange. Now there's going to be peace in the world. No, I mean, literally, the analysts weighed in and said, this will have no bearing whatsoever on any peace negotiation. The Russians said the Vatican would not be an appropriate place for a peace summit. The Pope offered to house, to basically have the negotiations be at the Vatican. Putin said no, because they're Catholics. He doesn't think it would be appropriate to have the Catholics host a peace thing. I mean, and again, Zelensky's said he's happy to sit down and talk to Putin. Putin has said no. The Russians are finding every excuse possible not to have peace. Big surprise there. This is interesting. We've talked before about the Russians very much. The Russians are another group, the Russian government, that likes to accuse others of the things they do. So the Russians, for example, accuse the Ukrainians of coddling NZs, when in fact, I wrote a lot about this. It's the Russians who have systematically used neo-NZ groups in Russia to attack gay and trans people, for example. The Russian government let them run wild in the teens, 10 years ago. The Russian government basically used these groups on the side to attack gays and to attack trans people. So the Russians, and they would let them get away with it until basically a number of us made a big stink. And finally, Channel 4 in Britain did a big story on it. And that's when the Russians were forced to step in and do something, because they were embarrassed on the world stage, because guess what? The Russians were coddling NZs and using them. Dog wants water. One moment. One moment, dog. All right. So the Russians, speaking of modern day, sort of the history of the NZs in World War II, the Russians are claiming once again that part of the reason they can't have peace in Ukraine, and the reason why Ukraine has to give them all of the land in the east now, the Russians are saying, in the southeast and the east, the Russians are demanding that Ukraine give Russia land that the Russians don't even control, right? I mean, Ukraine's own land that Russia hasn't even won militarily, the Russians are demanding the Ukrainians give the land to Russia. Guess why? Because there's Russian speakers in the land. Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Brian, for the gifts. There's Russian speakers in the land, and they're being oppressed, and Russia has to invade and take over to protect the Russian speakers. You know who else made that argument? The H-man from World War II. This is one of the ways, it's one of the things that started World War II, were the Germans claiming that they had to annex Czechoslovakia, part of Czechoslovakia, because there were German speakers in the Sudetenland, and they were being oppressed, and the Germans had to come save them, and they did. Of course, the Brits and the French helped, because the Brits and remember Chamberlain, the big sellout of the Brits, but the French did too. They told the Germans, okay, take the land. It's okay. Take Czechoslovakia. It's okay. And then they took Czechoslovakia, and then they wanted war, of course, big surprise. And then World War II started. But it's literally the argument from World War II. And the Russians did this as a justification for invading originally, and they're doing it as a justification now. And it's one of the things also that they're threatening with the Baltic countries with. We talked about this. Is it Latvia? I always forget. There's Estonia or Latvia that they've got Russian speakers in the East, or actually Russians. I think they were Russians, probably left over from the Soviet, dictatorship. Latvia. Thank you, Manana. Latvia. I was going to say Estonia probably does too. Yeah, Mrs. Toad says Estonia, but Manana is, I think, in Latvia. So yeah. Any case, Polish fighter jets intercepted a Russian Su-24 bomber in international airspace over the Baltic Sea. It was basically behaving provocatively and dangerously. Big surprise. Military helicopter of Russia's crashed in Russia's Oriol region. Stalin. Oh, this is crazy. From Sky News. The Moscow Metro now has a statue of Stalin honoring the Soviet leader who is responsible for killing between 10 and 30 million people of his own people, including a lot of millions of Ukrainians. He starved to death. He murdered millions. And the Russians are now, they set up a statue. He had, let me just read this to you from Sky News. The gilded interiors of its cavernous metro stations have the opulence of a Baroque palace, but amid the mosaics and chandeliers, there's a new monument turning heads, a life-size statue of Joseph Stalin. The Soviet dictator was responsible for the deaths of millions of innocent people in purges, famines, and his infamous Gulag labor camps. But there's no mention of that on the new sculpture at the central Taganskaya station. Instead, Stalin is depicted as a leader who was loved by his people. A crowd of adoring workers and their children are reaching out towards him in adoration. It shows Stalin and then a bunch of workers and children reaching out to him because they loved him so much. It was described as a gift to passengers by the capital's metro system to mark its 90th anniversary. So even more Soviet. To mark the 90th anniversary of the metro in Moscow, they built a statue of Stalin. How is that honoring the 90th anniversary of the metro? Right? But Russia's been doing this for a while. I mean, Russia's been trying to bring back Stalin for a while. Putin has. Absolutely. And again, watch for this kind of stuff to happen here. All right. I'm going to call it quits with that. We can hang out for 10 minutes. As I said, I don't want to go too much longer because my voice is being very bad. It's being scratchy. So let's hang out for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to call it quits. All right. Because even now I can tell it's just my voice is not being great. I may even cancel tomorrow too. Let's see, guys. There's a good chance I'm going to cancel tomorrow because I can just feel like it's being very bad tonight. And the more I think about it, having Saturday, Sunday, and Monday might not be a terrible thing. So, what else? Oh, Manana says Latvia's population is 25% Russian speakers. Okay. Thank you, Addie. Yeah, the tea thing I would consider. The problem is tea, tea makes me pee. And I don't feel like peeing all night. So I don't know if I want to have tea tonight, but we'll see. I'll consider it. I will consider it. Harvard, we did talk about Harvard earlier, Steer. I talked at length about Harvard earlier. Yeah. They removed most of the transcripts from the White House website. There's a surprise. Thank you, Ocean. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, if my voice wasn't being so weird, I would talk about it again. But we actually talked maybe, oh God, it could have been 15 minutes. Actually, the show is recorded simultaneously on YouTube. So you can always go to YouTube and check out the earlier part of the show. I mean, we're still live on YouTube right now, but it's John Aravosis DC. And just go, or Ash or somebody, if you want to type my TikTok, my YouTube name, you can go check it out. There you go. From Manda, YouTube, John Aravosis DC. Anyway, I think I'm going to cancel tomorrow. The more I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I think let's cancel tomorrow morning just because it's scratchy enough that I'm not liking this, Zeit zu Wohnen. I do have Zeit zu Wohnen, actually. I do actually. I will try that. Although I do have that actually. My mom, I'd gotten some from the Greek stores in Chicago. I don't love it. I prefer chamomile. Chamomile I love. That's my favorite tea. But somebody was saying there in Greek that I should get the tea from the mountains. And I do have mountain tea that I'd gotten. I either got it in Greece or I think I got it at a store in Chicago. Oh, gurgling salt water. That's true too. I forgot about that. Yes. Oh, of course I would use decaffeinated. I'm not going to have caffeine. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Heather. I would never have caffeine in the evening. I'm like, friends of mine would go to dinner or dinner parties and they'd get like an espresso at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh my God, like, how do you do that? I think I've got a ginger lemon honey tea. I'm going to see what I've got, but I think I've got those teas, but you're right. I'm going to make one. That's not a bad idea just to kind of calm things down. But I could never drink, caffeinated tea. That would kill me. Oh my God. In the evening, I mean, it's not as bad as coffee, but still, the evening would be a little too much. So anyway, hot toddy. Yeah. Tea is a diuretic. I find, at least for me, green tea is. Green tea, forget it. I'm going to be peeing all night. Regular tea, I don't know. But green tea is pretty bad. That's the only reason I'm not a big fan of tea at night either. Like, I don't want to drink another glass of water in the evening and be up all night or be up 3 times at night. Last cup of coffee in bed before going to sleep. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Cricket, for the gift. That's crazy. I'm not a whiskey guy, though. I'm not a whiskey guy. I'm sure Trump will. I've said this already. Trump, because somebody was mentioning over on YouTube, Trump will do everything he can to preserve, and the Republicans will too, to self-congratulate. They're going to try to put him on our currency, a coin or a dollar, a bill currency. They're going to try to put him on Mount Rushmore. I guarantee you they're going to try. Sasha, no, come on. You had water. It's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad, So anyway, well, they're removing the penny, which is probably not a bad idea. Because it's the pennies are not really used anymore, Oops. There we go. So, I'm not necessarily, I don't really have a problem with them not using pennies, to be honest. It's not, it's just stupid. It is overdue. Because, who cares? 99 cents, make it 95 cents, right? $9.99 is cute, but make it $9.95. It still sounds less than $10, even those are stupid, to be honest. A dime, maybe, right? Maybe, but a nickel, unless you can buy candy with, I don't know, are there things you can buy with nickels? Is there anything? Sasha, come on. Is there anything you can buy with a nickel anymore? Really? A nickel costs 13 cents to make. I did not know that. Is that true, Jeffrey? I'm going to fact check you here. But yeah, it just seemed like a stupid. How much does it cost to produce an American nickel? Let's see. 10.4 cents. Interesting. According to the U.S. Mint from 2023, Jeffrey, you might be right as of today. Or was it Jeffrey? Or no, it was Jeffrey. But according to this, in 2023, it was 10.4 cents to produce a nickel, and a nickel is 5 cents. So we spend 10 cents to produce a coin worth 5 cents. That does seem a little crazy, actually. The cost includes raw materials, manufacturing and distribution, overhead expense. Wow. The high production cost is largely due to the rising price of metals. That's interesting. How much does it cost to produce a penny? Let's see. One moment here. It does get used over and over again, yes. Oh, this is interesting. So a penny cost 3.69 cents to make. That's 3.7 times. A dime costs less, 5.7 cents. So that's good. A quarter costs less, but a nickel, actually, Jeffrey's not wrong. They're saying in 2024, the nickel was 13.7 cents to make, 13.78. So 13.8 cents. So that's actually quite a lot. That's two and a half times. 2.7, two and a half times. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. Wow. That is a lot. Wow. Oh, they're going to put them on a bill. They're going to put them on a bill, and Democrats better be ready when they come to power. They're going to watch them rename. They did, by the way, Republicans renamed our airport in Washington, D.C. The airport, National Airport. It's Washington National Airport was the name of the airport, named after George Washington, the founder of our country. They changed the name to name it after Ronald Reagan. Those of us who are here a long time do not call it Reagan Airport. We call it National Airport. Those of us who have lived here a long time. But I guarantee you that's going to be another one. Just watch them try to change the name to Trump Airport. Watch them try to change the name. I guarantee you. Can they put living people on money? The man literally accepted a $400 million bribe from a foreign government. Like, that's illegal. They can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. Right. If it's against the law, they'll break the law, because who's going to enforce it? Donald Trump's own Department of Justice. If they feel like they need to change the law, then they'll change the law. But honestly, they're going to do it anyway. They'll do it anyway. Who cares? Who's going to enforce it? Right. Because again, the Department of Justice has to enforce, like, go after crime breakers, lawbreakers. You think Donald Trump's Department of Justice is going to go after Donald Trump's people? Yeah, it's very bad. All right, guys. I think I'm going to sign off, as I said, only because I'm trying to save my voice a little. So we've been doing this for an hour. Normally I go an hour and a half, but I'm trying to be careful here. I am going to, I've decided I am going to skip the show tomorrow. Normally we have our show tomorrow for the paid subscribers. Sorry, guys. But because Monday's a holiday, this isn't a bad idea for me to have 3 days off to give my voice a rest. I think that'll help a lot. So that will help a lot. Jag står fallen. Fallen. Yeah, I mean, I feel fine. It's just my voice is raspy, so I don't want to like ruin it. And Sasha's begging for more water, but I am drinking more water too, so that should help too. Thank you, Chazak. All right, guys, everybody have a good evening. I will see you all Tuesday at this point. Yeah, because Monday's a holiday in America. So see you all Tuesday. Okay, I will get my mountain tea out, and I do have honey. I will get the mountain tea out and try it. I promise. All right, see you guys. Have a good evening. Okay. I know I saw that, the anti-Sasha I am. All right, guys, have a good evening. All right, let me get Discord. There we go. Okay, Discord. Bye, Jeff. Bye, Amanda. Boom. All right. Oops. All right, there's Discord. YouTube. See you guys. Thank you. And TikTok.